Hey everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you're someone who's trying to improve your English fluency, this episode is definitely for you.
Absolutely. Today we're diving into a super important topic: common mistakes that kill your fluency. You might be learning English for months, maybe even years, but still feel stuck, like you're not speaking smoothly or confidently. And often, it's because of small mistakes that we repeat without even realizing it.
That's right, Jason. These aren't grammar mistakes or spelling errors. We're talking about the habits, fears, and wrong learning strategies that silently stop your progress. And the good news is, once you know them, you can avoid them and grow faster.
In today's episode, we'll go through the top 5 fluency-killing mistakes. We'll do a fun role play to show how they happen in real life. And we'll also give you a 7-day challenge to help you fix them.
So grab your notebook, stay with us until the end, and let's make sure these common mistakes never hold you back again.
Let's get started with the first big mistake, one that almost every learner makes in the beginning. All right, let's jump into the first big mistake that kills fluency. And that is translating from your native language too much. Julia, this is such a common issue, right?
Oh yes, Jason. Many learners try to think in their native language first, then translate the sentence into English. It sounds logical, but it actually slows you down and makes your English sound unnatural.
Exactly. For example, if someone wants to say, "I'm hungry," but they try to translate it word for word from their language, the sentence might come out wrong or sound awkward.
Yes, and here's the problem: when you translate, your brain is doing double the work. First, it's thinking in your own language, then trying to find the English version. That delay makes speaking feel harder and slower.
And not only that, sometimes phrases in your native language don't even exist in English, or they're said very differently. So you might say something that just doesn't make sense to native speakers.
Right. That's why it's so important to start thinking in English, even with small, simple sentences like, "It's hot today," or "Where is my bag?"
And if that feels hard at first, don't worry, it's normal. One great way to stop translating is to use pictures, not words. When you see a chair, think chair, not the word in your language.
That's a great tip. Another idea is to practice with common sentence patterns, like "Can I jiu?" or "I like to jius." When you practice these chunks, your brain stops translating and starts using English naturally.
And the more you listen to English podcasts, movies, real conversations, the more your brain gets used to the rhythm of English. Over time, you'll stop needing to translate.
So remember, translating is like walking with one shoe on. It slows you down and makes fluency harder. Instead, train your mind to live in English, even for short moments each day.
Well said, Julia. Coming up next. Mistake 2. Focusing too much on grammar. Trust me, this one's a trap for many learners. Now, let's talk about mistake 2 that kills fluency, and that is focusing too much on grammar. Julia, this one might surprise some learners.
Yes, it might. Because grammar is important, of course, but the mistake is when learners focus only on grammar, like memorizing rules and doing grammar exercises all day, and they forget to actually use English to communicate.
Right. I've seen learners who know all the tenses, all the rules, and still can't have a simple conversation. Why? Because grammar doesn't build confidence, or fluency practice does.
Exactly. Speaking fluently means being able to respond quickly and naturally, and that only happens when you practice speaking, listening, and thinking in English. You don't need to speak perfectly, you just need to speak.
Yes. Think about how children learn. They don't learn grammar first. They listen, They repeat, they make mistakes, and that's how they become fluent. We need to do the same.
And here's something important. Many fluent English speakers make small grammar mistakes, and that's okay. Native speakers do it too. What matters more is communication, not perfection.
So if you find yourself spending hours on grammar worksheets, but avoiding speaking or listening, it's time to change your routine. Use grammar as a support, not your main focus.
Totally agree. A good rule is spend 20% on grammar and 80% on using English, like watching shows, having conversations, or listening to podcasts like this one.
So remember, friends, don't let grammar fear stop your progress. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. You just need to keep using English, even if it's not 100% correct.
Up next, mistake 3. Not practicing speaking regularly. And trust me, this one is a big block for many learners.
All right, we're now on mistake 3, and this one is a real fluency killer. Not practicing speaking regularly. Julia, how many learners do we know who say they want to speak better, but they never actually speak?
So true, Jason. A lot of learners read books, watch videos, and study vocabulary, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. Why? Because they don't practice speaking enough, and their mouth isn't trained to form English sentences.
Exactly. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. You can't just read or listen and expect to magically become fluent. You need to open your mouth and speak often.
And here's the thing. You don't need a teacher or a native speaker to start. You can talk to yourself in English, describe what you're doing, or even practice conversations in your head.
Yes. For example, while cooking, say, "Now I'm cutting the vegetables. The water is boiling. I need a spoon." This kind of self-talk builds confidence and fluency.
Another great method is to record yourself speaking for 1 minute every day. Choose a topic like your favorite food, your weekend plans, or your goals and just speak. Then listen to it and see how you can improve.
And don't wait for the perfect moment to speak. Speak when you're not ready. Speak when you're unsure. That's how fluency grows, by making mistakes and learning from them.
Exactly. Fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Even speaking for just 5 minutes a day can make a big difference in a few weeks.
So, if you've been learning English but not speaking it, start today. Don't wait. Fluency begins the moment you start using your voice.
Coming up next, mistake 4. The fear of making mistakes. It's something we all face, but you'll hear why it shouldn't stop you.
We're now at mistake 4, and this one is very personal for many learners, the fear of making mistakes.
Yes, Jason. So many people feel shy, nervous, or even embarrassed when they try to speak English. They worry about sounding wrong, using the wrong words, or being laughed at.
But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. In fact, they're your best teacher. Every time you make a mistake, your brain gets a chance to learn and grow.
That's right. Nobody becomes fluent without making lots of mistakes first. Even native speakers make grammar or pronunciation errors sometimes, and they don't stop speaking because of it.
Exactly. Fluency is not about speaking perfectly. It's about communicating your ideas with confidence, even if you make a few errors along the way.
And the funny thing is, when you finally stop being afraid of mistakes, you actually start improving faster. You speak more, you try more, and your confidence grows.
Yes, I always tell my students, be proud of your mistakes. They show that you're learning. If you're not making mistakes, it probably means you're not using English enough.
So to our listeners, next time you hesitate to speak because you're scared of messing up, remember, every mistake you make is a step forward.
Beautifully said, Julia. Don't let fear hold your fluency hostage. Mistakes aren't the end. They're just the beginning.
Coming up next, Mistake 5. Memorizing without using words in real life. This one is sneaky but very common.
All right, let's move on to mistake 5. And this is something we see all the time, memorizing vocabulary without using the words in real context.
Yes, Jason, many learners try to memorize long vocabulary lists, hoping it will make them fluent. But here's the problem: just knowing a word isn't enough. If you don't use it in real situations, you'll forget it quickly or not know how to use it correctly.
Exactly. You might know 1,000 English words, but if you don't know how and when to use them, they won't help you much in a real conversation.
Let's take an example. Someone learns the word advice. Great! But if they don't practice saying, "Can I give you some advice?" or "Thanks for your advice," they might say something wrong, like an advice which sounds unnatural.
That's a perfect example. So the key here is, don't just memorize, personalize. Use the new word in a sentence about your own life. If you learn delicious, say, "This soup is delicious." That's how the brain remembers.
And it helps even more if you write the word down in a notebook, say it out loud, and use it in a real or practice conversation. That's active learning, and it's what leads to real fluency.
So, if you've been memorizing random word lists, try switching to phrases and real-life examples. Focus on the most common words and practice them again and again in context.
Remember, fluency doesn't come from knowing the most words, it comes from knowing how to use the right words at the right time.
Beautifully said, Julia. Up next, we'll show you all 5 mistakes in action through a fun and realistic role play. Don't miss it.
Hey Amir, long time no see. How have you been?
Yes. I am, feeling good. Yesterday I go, to market. I buy many vegetables for cooking.
Oh, okay. So you went to the market and bought vegetables?
Yes, go Ed, no, went. Sorry, my grammar bad.
No worries, you're doing fine. What did you cook?
I cooked chicken with, spicy water like my mother always do in my country.
Oh, maybe you mean chicken curry?
Yes, chicken curry. I don't know the English word. In my language, we call it murga masala.
Ah, I see. Sounds delicious. So do you often cook?
Sometimes I cooking, sometimes no. I like cooking, but I speak English no good. I feel shy. I afraid mistake come.
Don't worry, Amir. You're trying, and that's what matters. Just keep practicing.
Thank you. I try learn many words. Yesterday I learned benefit, priority, atmosphere, consequence. But I know how to use.
That's okay. We can learn how to use them together.
All right, so, listeners, did you catch the mistakes Amir made in that short conversation?
Yes, he was translating directly from his native language, focusing too much on grammar, not confident in speaking, scared of making mistakes, and memorizing words without using them in context.
Exactly. And while it's totally normal to start this way, the goal is to recognize these habits and slowly change them so you can speak more naturally and fluently.
Coming up next, we'll break down exactly what went wrong in that role play and how you can avoid making the same mistakes.
All right, let's take a moment to break down what just happened in that role play with Amir. There were quite a few fluency-killing mistakes, and we want to highlight them so our listeners can learn from them.
Yes, let's start with the first mistake, translating from the native language. Amir said things like spicy water instead of curry. That happened because he was trying to translate a concept from his language, and it didn't quite work in English.
Exactly. It's better to learn common English phrases and concepts directly, so you're not guessing or translating when you speak.
The second mistake was focusing too much on grammar. Amir kept apologizing for making grammar mistakes instead of just continuing the conversation. Remember, grammar is helpful, but communication is more important.
Then came mistake 3, not practicing speaking enough. You could tell Amir wasn't used to speaking in English. He paused a lot and searched for words. Regular speaking practice, even alone, helps build that speaking muscle.
Right? Then we saw mistake 4, fear of making mistakes. Amir said, "I feel shy. I afraid mistake come." That fear was holding him back from speaking freely, but making mistakes is how you grow.
And finally, mistake 5, memorizing without context. Amir listed some fancy vocabulary like benefit and consequence, but he didn't know how to use them in a sentence. That's what happens when you memorize without real practice.
So if you recognized yourself in Amir, don't worry. These mistakes are common, but they're also fixable. The key is to practice smart, speak more often, and focus on using real language in real situations.
And now that you know what the problems are, let's talk about how to actually fix them coming up next. Now that we've talked about the 5 common mistakes that kill fluency, let's talk solutions. How can you actually fix these mistakes and speak English more naturally?
Let's go one by one. First, to stop translating from your native language, start thinking in English even with small daily thoughts. For example, instead of thinking "I'm hungry" in your language first, train your brain to say it directly in English.
Exactly. And for those who focus too much on grammar, try shifting your routine. Spend more time on listening and speaking practice, and only 20% of your time on grammar rules.
Mistake 3. Not speaking enough can be fixed by creating a simple daily habit. Talk to yourself, record a 1-minute voice diary, or practice with a friend. Even 5 minutes a day helps.
Yes. For fear of making mistakes, remind yourself, mistakes mean progress. Every time you mess up, you're learning. The more relaxed you become about mistakes, the faster you'll grow.
And finally, if you've been memorizing without context, change your method. Learn words through phrases, stories, or real situations. If you learn the word challenge, use it in a sentence like, "Learning English is a fun challenge for me."
Remember, fluency is not about perfection. It's about practice, confidence, and communication. When you apply these small changes daily, you'll start seeing big results.
Coming up next, a special challenge just for you, our listeners, to help you put all of this into action starting today.
All right, listeners, it's time for a challenge. We want you to take on our 7-day fluency mistake detox plan to help you break these common mistakes and boost your English fluency.
Here's the simple plan. For the next 7 days, spend at least 5 to 10 minutes daily practicing these steps. Think in English. Try to catch yourself translating and stop. Practice thinking directly in English. Speak out loud. Talk to yourself. Record your voice or practice with a friend. It doesn't have to be perfect. Use new words in sentences. Don't just memorize vocabulary lists. Make sentences with new words related to your daily life. Accept mistakes. When you slip up, smile and keep going. Mistakes mean you're learning. Listen more. Watch or listen to simple English podcasts, videos, or conversations to get used to natural English.
Doing this every day for just 5 to 10 minutes will make a huge difference. After 7 days, you'll feel more confident and notice your English improving.
We'd love to hear how it goes. Share your progress in the comments or on social media using the hashtag #FluencyDetox.
You've got this. Keep going, and don't let those mistakes stop your fluency journey. Well, that wraps up today's episode on common mistakes that kill your fluency. Remember, fluency isn't about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and courage.
Absolutely, Jason. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't worry about grammar all the time. And most importantly, keep speaking every day. The more you use English naturally, the easier it becomes.
And if you take on our 7-day Fluency Mistake Detox Challenge, you'll be surprised at how much progress you can make in a short time.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment telling us what mistakes you want to fix next.
We'll be back soon with more tips and fun conversations to help you on your English learning journey.
Until then, keep practicing, stay confident, and speak naturally. See you next time.
Bye, everyone!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to improving your English skills step by step.
And I'm Sarah, your co-host. Together, we'll make learning English fun, simple, and useful for your everyday life. Today, we're diving into an interesting and important topic. Can you talk to many people in English?
Now, if you're a beginner English learner, you might feel nervous or unsure when you're in a group of people speaking English. Maybe you worry about saying the wrong thing, or you're not sure how to jump into the conversation.
That's completely normal. We've all been there at some point. Speaking in front of many people can feel intimidating, even in your native language. But don't worry. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical tips and strategies to help you feel more confident and ready to join group conversations in English.
Exactly. In this podcast, we'll talk about common challenges beginners face when speaking in a group, and we'll also share some simple and effective tips that you can use right away. Plus, we've got a fun role-play exercise later in the episode to show you how these tips work in real conversations.
So, whether you're preparing for a class discussion, a meeting at work, or even a casual chat with friends, this episode is for you. Let's get started and discover how you can speak to many people in English confidently and naturally.
And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us create more helpful content for you. Now let's jump into today's topic. Before we dive deeper, Sarah, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt nervous about speaking English in front of a group of people?
Oh, definitely, Jason. When I first started learning English, speaking in front of even 2 or 3 people felt overwhelming. I was so afraid of making mistakes or embarrassing myself.
That's such a common feeling, especially for beginners. What do you think makes it so challenging to talk to many people in English?
Well, for one, there's the pressure of trying to keep up with the conversation. Everyone is talking, and you might feel like you don't know when to speak or what to say. It can be hard to find the right words quickly, especially if the group is speaking fast.
That's a great point. Sometimes you also have to deal with different accents or speaking styles, which can make understanding others even trickier.
Exactly. And then there's the fear of being judged. Many learners think, what if they laugh at my mistakes? Or, what if I say something wrong?
True, but here's the thing. Most people are supportive and happy that you're trying to speak their language. Making mistakes is just part of the learning process.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to remind ourselves that it's okay to make mistakes. It's all about practicing and improving over time.
Well said, Sarah. All right, now that we've warmed up, let's talk about the specific challenges of speaking English in a group and how to tackle. All right, Sarah, let's dive into the challenges of talking to many people in English. What's the first challenge you think beginners face?
I'd say the biggest one is shyness. Many learners feel too shy to speak up in a group. They might think, what if my grammar is wrong? Or, what if people don't understand me? That fear can stop them from even trying.
That's so true. Another challenge is fear of making mistakes. Some learners think that making mistakes will make them look silly, but in reality, making mistakes is part of the process.
Absolutely. And then there's the issue of understanding others. In a group, everyone might speak differently. Some people talk fast, others have strong accents, and it can be overwhelming to follow the conversation.
Yes, and sometimes it's not just understanding, it's knowing when to speak. In group settings, conversations can move quickly, and it can feel like there's never a perfect moment to jump in.
Exactly. Many beginners struggle with finding the right words. Even if they have an idea in their head, it can be hard to put it into words fast enough to join the conversation.
These are very real challenges, and it's important for learners to know they're not alone in facing them. But the good news is that every one of these challenges can be overcome with practice and the right strategies.
That's right. And coming up next, we'll share some practical tips to help you tackle these challenges and feel more confident speaking in groups.
Stay tuned. This is where the fun part begins. Now that we've talked about the challenges, let's get into some practical tips for beginners. Sarah, what's the first tip you'd recommend for someone who feels nervous about speaking in a group?
The first tip is to start small. If you're nervous, don't try to jump into big groups right away. Start with a conversation with just 1 or 2 people. This helps you build confidence before speaking in larger groups.
That's a great point. The second tip is practice active listening. Focus on really listening to what others are saying. This not only helps you understand the conversation better, but also gives you time to think of what you want to say next.
Exactly. And tip number 3 is to learn key phrases. It can be helpful to have a few phrases prepared in advance to join a conversation, like, "That's a great point," or "I agree with you." These simple phrases can help you feel more involved without stressing about what to say.
I love that tip. Another useful tip is to ask questions. If you're unsure what to say, asking questions is a great way to keep the conversation going. You can ask, "Could you explain that a little more?" Or, "What do you think about this topic?"
Yes, asking questions not only helps you participate, but also shows you're engaged in the conversation.
And lastly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay if you don't always get it perfect. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Mistakes are part of the journey.
That's so true. So start small, listen carefully, ask questions, and most importantly, keep practicing.
And now to really bring these tips to life, let's do a quick role play exercise. All right, now let's put these tips into action with a quick role play. Sarah and I will act out a scenario where we're in a small group discussion, and I'm going to show you how we can use the tips we just talked about. Ready, Sarah?
Ready, Jason. Let's say we're at a meeting with some colleagues discussing a project.
I'll start the conversation. So, Sarah, what do you think about the new plan for the project? Do you think it'll work?
Ready, Jason. Let's say we're at a meeting with some colleagues discussing a project.
I see your point. I think we could extend the timeline by a week. What do you think about that idea?
Listening carefully. That's a good question, Jason. I think the plan is great, but I have a few concerns about the timeline. We might need more time to finish everything. Notice how Sarah listens first and then shares her thoughts, staying calm and confident.
Using a simple phrase to agree. That's a great point, Sarah. I'll check in with the team to see how they're doing. Let's make sure everyone is on the same page.
Nods and asks a question to keep the conversation going. I agree. Extending the timeline sounds good, but do you think the team will be able to handle the extra work?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Let's schedule it for next week.
Asking a follow-up question. Thanks, Jason. Do you think we should have another meeting to discuss this with the team?
To the listeners, as you can see, Sarah used a lot of great techniques here. She started by listening, asked questions to keep the conversation going, and didn't worry about making mistakes. She was confident and engaged throughout the conversation.
Summarizing the conversation to wrap it up. Okay, sounds like we have a plan. I'll let everyone know about the changes.
That's right. Now let's move on to the next section. Now that we've talked about the practical tips and shown you how to apply them, let's take a moment to encourage you. Sarah, speaking in a group can feel intimidating, but how important is it to keep pushing through those fears?
And remember, this is just a simple example of how you can speak in a group. You don't have to be perfect. Just practice and keep improving.
That's such a great point, Sarah. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. And every conversation you have is a step forward. Even if you make mistakes, you're learning and improving.
It's incredibly important, Jason. The more you practice, the more confident you become. I remember when I was first starting, I was terrified to speak in front of others. But over time, I realized that each small conversation was a victory. The more I practiced, the easier it became.
That's right. And remember, no one expects you to be perfect. The goal is to communicate and to keep practicing. The more you put yourself out there, the more you'll realize that people are supportive and they appreciate your effort to speak their language.
Exactly. And don't forget, you're not alone in this journey. Every English speaker, even native speakers, has faced challenges in conversations at some point, but the key is to keep going, even when it feels difficult.
Absolutely. So, keep pushing yourself. Join those conversations, ask questions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. With time and practice, you'll be able to talk confidently with many people in English.
And here's a little motivation. You're already on the right path just by listening to this podcast and practicing. Think of how much you've improved already. Every step counts.
So keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, the journey to fluency is all about consistency and patience. You've got this. Before we wrap up, we received a great question from one of our listeners that we want to answer. Sarah, here's the question. How do I handle it if I don't understand something in a group conversation?
We believe in you, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
Exactly. Asking for clarification is a normal part of communication. People will appreciate that you're engaged and want to understand. It's better to ask than to pretend you understand, which can lead to misunderstandings later.
That's such a good question. First of all, don't panic. It happens to everyone, even to people who are fluent in a language. If you don't understand something, it's completely okay to ask for clarification. You can say things like, "Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again?" Or, "Could you explain that a little more?"
That's a great point, Sarah. If you're still unsure, you can always follow up later. If you didn't fully understand something in the moment, it's okay to ask someone to explain it to you afterwards.
Absolutely. And another thing you can do is listen for context. Sometimes, even if you don't understand every word, the general meaning of the conversation can still be clear. Pay attention to the tone and body language of the speakers. It can help you figure out what's being discussed.
Exactly. And we hope that answers your question. If any of you have more questions, feel free to send them in, and we'll answer them in future episodes.
And remember, everyone has moments where they don't understand something. It's totally normal, so don't be afraid to ask questions and take your time to make sure you understand.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered a lot of ground, from the challenges of speaking in English with many people, to practical tips and even a role play to help you build your confidence.
Keep those questions coming, and we're always here to help.
Exactly, and the key takeaway from today's episode is that everyone, even native speakers, faces difficulties in conversations. The most important thing is to keep practicing, stay patient with yourself, and believe that you're making progress, even on the tough days.
That's right, Jason. Remember, speaking in groups can be challenging, but it's also a fantastic way to improve your English. Don't let fear hold you back. The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you'll become.
Absolutely, and remember, this journey is all about consistency. Every conversation, every question, and every little bit of practice gets you one step closer to fluency.
Yes, and keep using the tips we shared. Start small, listen carefully, ask questions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Over time, these small steps will add up to huge improvements in your speaking ability.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope this episode helped you feel more confident about speaking in English with many people. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave us a comment.
So keep practicing, stay motivated, and don't be afraid to speak up. You're doing amazing, and we're so proud of you.
See you next time.
We'll be back soon with more tips and conversations to help you improve your English. Keep practicing and take care.
We help you improve your English through real conversations and fun topics. I'm your host, Jason.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. We're so excited you're here with us today. We've got a really interesting and maybe even a little controversial topic to talk about.
Oh, yes. Today's question is, one many learners are asking now, who teaches English better, ChatGPT or a real human teacher?
It sounds like a big question, right? With AI like ChatGPT becoming more popular, many English learners are using it every day. But is it better than a real teacher, or can it replace a teacher?
Or maybe it's not about better. Maybe they're just different. In this episode, we'll compare both how a human teacher teaches, how ChatGPT teaches, and what's best for you, the learner.
We'll even do a fun role play later to show you the difference between learning with ChatGPT and learning with a real teacher.
So if you've ever wondered whether you should stick with classes, try learning with AI, or maybe use both, this episode is for you.
And don't worry, we'll keep it simple, clear, and full of practical tips. So grab a notebook or just relax and listen.
Let's jump in and explore what makes a great English teacher human or AI. So, Julia, before we compare ChatGPT and AI tools, let's talk about human teachers first. In your opinion, what makes a great English teacher?
Great question, Jason. I think a great English teacher is not just someone who knows grammar rules. It's someone who can explain things clearly, correct you gently, and really connect with the student.
Absolutely. I've had teachers who made me feel excited to learn, not afraid to make mistakes. That emotional support, that encouragement, it makes a huge difference.
Right. And great teachers often understand their students' needs. For example, if a student is shy, they might ask more yes/no questions to make the student comfortable.
Yeah, or they might use games or role play to make the class more fun and interactive.
Also, great teachers are flexible. If you don't understand something, they try a different way. Maybe they draw, act it out, or give simple examples. That kind of creativity is powerful.
And don't forget real-time feedback. A teacher can immediately correct your pronunciation, your sentence structure, or even give you a cultural tip like, hey, in real life, people say it this way.
Exactly. And many teachers bring real-world experience. Maybe they lived in an English-speaking country, or they know common slang, idioms, or how people really talk in daily life.
So it's not just about the textbook. It's about experience, emotion, encouragement, and human connection.
Well said. A good teacher makes you feel confident. A great teacher makes you feel like you can do anything, even if English seems hard at first.
So now that we've painted a good picture of what human teachers can offer, let's take a look at how ChatGPT teaches English. Is it the same? Is it better? Or just different?
Let's find out.
All right, so we've talked about what makes a great human teacher. Now, let's talk about the other side. ChatGPT. Julia, how would you explain what ChatGPT is to someone who has never used it?
Good question. ChatGPT is an AI chatbot. It's like a smart robot you can chat with by typing. You ask it questions, and it gives you answers in natural English. Many people use it to learn grammar, improve vocabulary, or even practice conversations.
Right, and it's available 24/7. You don't need to book a lesson or wait for class. You just open the app or website and start chatting like texting a very smart English buddy.
Exactly. You can ask it things like, what's the difference between say and tell? Can you correct my sentence? Can you help me write an email in English? And ChatGPT will answer in seconds.
What's cool is that it can adjust to your level. If you say, "I'm a beginner," it will use simpler words. If you're more advanced, it gives more detail.
Also, it's super patient. You can ask the same question 5 times and it won't get annoyed.
Haha. Yes. And for people who feel nervous speaking to real teachers, ChatGPT feels safe. There's no pressure. You can make mistakes, and no one's judging you.
Plus, it gives examples. If you say, "Can you give me 5 sentences using present perfect?" it will give them immediately and even explain why.
And one more thing, it's not just about grammar. You can have full conversations. You can say, "Let's talk about food," or pretend you're a waiter and it plays along. That's great speaking practice.
So true. It's like having your own personal English assistant in your pocket.
But is it the same as learning with a real teacher? Can it feel human enough? That's what we're going to explore next. And we've prepared a fun little role play to compare the two.
Yes, let's show our listeners how learning looks with a teacher and with ChatGPT. This will be fun.
All right, Julia, it's time for a little fun. We're going to do a short role play to show what it's like to learn English with a human teacher. And then with ChatGPT.
Yes, so I'll play the English learner named Ali, and you'll be the teacher in the first scene. Then in the second scene, I'll talk to ChatGPT. Ready?
Let's do it! Scene 1. Ali with a human English teacher.
Hi, teacher. I want to ask, what is the difference between say and tell? I always get confused.
Great question, Ali. Both say and tell are used to report speech, but they work a bit differently. We usually use say without a person. She said she was tired. And we use tell when we say who we are talking to. She told me she was tired.
Oh, so say is more general and tell is more direct to a person?
Exactly. Would you like to try making a few sentences?
Okay, he said he loves pizza, and she told me to come early.
Perfect. You got it. Keep practicing with different subjects, and soon it will feel natural.
Thank you, teacher. That really helped.
Nice! That was the human teacher experience, clear explanation, examples, and encouragement.
Now let's switch to ChatGPT. Same question, but now Ali is chatting with ChatGPT. I'll be both characters here. Scene 2. Ali talking to ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. What's the difference between say and tell? Hi! Great question. Say is used when you don't mention who you are speaking to. She said she was hungry. Tell is used when you say who you are speaking to. She told me she was hungry. Let me know if you want more examples or practice. Can you give me 5 examples of each? Sure. Examples of say, he said he was late. They said it was a great movie. I said I would help. She said she liked music. John said he was tired. Examples of tell, he told me the story. I told her the truth. She told us to wait. They told me a secret. You told him everything. Would you like to make your own sentences? Yes, here's one. He said he was tired, and she told me to call her. Well done! Both sentences are correct. Keep practicing and feel free to ask me anything anytime.
Wow! That was a really good comparison. Both gave helpful answers, right?
Yes, but the feeling is different. The human teacher gives emotion, tone, and can see your confusion. ChatGPT gives quick, clear info and tons of examples.
So both are useful, depending on what you need: speed and examples, or human connection and live feedback.
Exactly, and now let's go deeper into what ChatGPT does really well. Ready?
Let's go. So Julia, after that fun role play, I think it's clear ChatGPT has some pretty cool strengths. Let's talk about the advantages of learning English with ChatGPT.
Yes. First of all, ChatGPT is always available. You don't need to wait for class or schedule a lesson. You can practice English anytime, even in the middle of the night.
That's so true. Some learners live in places where good English teachers are hard to find, but ChatGPT is right there on your phone or laptop, ready to help you 24/7.
Another big advantage, no fear of judgment. Some learners feel shy or nervous when speaking in front of a teacher or classmates. But with ChatGPT, there's no pressure. You can ask questions again and again without feeling embarrassed.
Exactly. You can say, "Explain this grammar rule again," or can you make it even simpler? And ChatGPT never gets tired or annoyed.
Also, it's great for getting quick examples. You can ask, "Give me 10 sentences using past tense. Can you write a short dialogue about ordering food?" And it gives you answers instantly.
And let's not forget personalization. You can say, "I'm a beginner," or "I want to learn British English," or "I want to practice business English," and it adapts to you.
It's like a flexible English tutor that listens to your learning style. You can also ask it to quiz you, explain idioms, translate words, or even correct your writing.
And here's something people love: it's free or very low cost. Private English lessons can be expensive, but ChatGPT gives you high-quality help without the big price tag.
Totally. So if you're learning on a budget or just starting out, ChatGPT can be a great way to build your skills quickly.
But as helpful as ChatGPT is, it also has some limits. That's where human teachers still shine.
Yes, and we'll talk about that next, the real benefits of learning with a human teacher.
Stick around. So, Julia, we just talked about how ChatGPT is flexible, fast, and always available. But now let's turn the spotlight back to human teachers. What are the advantages of learning with a real person?
Well, one of the biggest ones is human connection. A teacher can look at your face, hear your voice, and understand when you're confused even if you don't say it.
Yes, that emotional connection is powerful. A good teacher can encourage you when you're frustrated or cheer you on when you succeed. It feels personal.
And human teachers can adapt in real time. Let's say you don't understand a word, a teacher might draw it, act it out, or give a real-life example to help you understand it better.
Right? Plus, they can correct your pronunciation live. With ChatGPT, it's all text. But a teacher can hear your accent and help you say words more clearly. That's a big deal.
Also, human teachers often bring cultural knowledge. They can teach you things like tone, body language, or what's polite or rude in different English-speaking countries.
Good point. Sometimes language isn't just about grammar, it's about how and when to use certain words, especially in social situations. That's where teachers really help.
Another great thing, motivation and accountability. A teacher checks your homework, gives you goals, and keeps you on track. You feel responsible, which pushes you to try harder.
Exactly. Some learners say, "If I'm studying alone, I give up easily. But if I know my teacher is waiting, I don't skip."
And teachers also create interactive activities, role plays, games, group discussions. These are hard to experience with AI.
Plus, teachers can see your progress over time. They remember your mistakes and help you grow step by step.
So, even though AI is fast and convenient, the human touch still matters, especially when you want deep understanding, emotional support, and personalized feedback.
Couldn't agree more. But now the big question is, do we have to choose just one?
Let's talk about that next. Maybe there's a way to use both and get the best of both worlds.
So far, we've seen the strengths of both ChatGPT and human teachers. But Julia, let's clear up a few myths, because there's a lot of confusion out there.
Yes, so true. Let's start with myth 1. ChatGPT can replace teachers completely. No, not really. ChatGPT is powerful, but it can't do everything a teacher can, like read emotions, guide your motivation, or help with speaking in real time.
Exactly. And here's myth 2. If I have a teacher, I don't need AI tools. Actually, AI and teachers can work together. Many great learners use both. ChatGPT can help with quick questions, while your teacher helps with depth, feedback, and practice.
Myth 3. ChatGPT always gives perfect answers. Nope. Sometimes it can make small mistakes or give answers that don't fit your level or your question. That's why you still need to think critically and, if possible, ask your teacher to confirm.
Great point. And finally, myth 4. Only real teachers can help with speaking practice. Actually, ChatGPT can help you create role plays, practice dialogues, and even give feedback on writing. But yes, for pronunciation and real-life speaking, teachers are still the best.
So don't believe the hype or the fear. ChatGPT is not your enemy. It's just another tool, and how you use it makes all the difference.
Well said. And coming up next, we'll talk about how learners can actually combine both ChatGPT and teachers for the best learning experience. So now that we've talked about the strengths of both ChatGPT and human teachers, the big question is, can they work together?
I say absolutely, yes. In fact, combining them might be the smartest way to learn English today.
Let's break it down. Imagine you go to an English class twice a week. That's great for real interaction, feedback, and guidance. But in between classes, you want to practice more, right?
Exactly. That's where ChatGPT comes in. You can use it to review vocabulary, ask grammar questions, or practice short conversations anytime you want, even at night or during lunch breaks.
It's like having a study buddy in your pocket. And the best part? It's always ready to help, no appointments needed.
And teachers can even recommend how students use ChatGPT. For example, use ChatGPT to practice writing your diary every day. Use it to learn new idioms or role play before your next class. It becomes a learning assistant, not a replacement.
That's such a great way to think about it, as a tool that supports your learning journey.
Yes, and for people who don't have access to a teacher, ChatGPT can help them start learning on their own, and maybe later they'll join a class or get a tutor too.
So in short, it's not about choosing one over the other. It's about using both wisely human guidance plus smart technology.
That's the future of learning flexible, personal, and powerful.
Coming up next, we'll give some simple tips on how you, the listener, can create your own learning routine using both. Shall we continue to the next part? All right, so if you're listening and thinking, okay, I want to use both ChatGPT and a teacher, but how do I actually do that? Don't worry, we've got some easy tips for you.
Tip number 1, use ChatGPT for daily practice. Even just 10 to 15 minutes a day can help. You can ask ChatGPT to quiz you on vocabulary practice, writing short paragraphs, do grammar exercises, or have a simple conversation like, "Let's talk about travel."
Tip number 2, prepare for your teacher lessons with ChatGPT. Before your next class, you can warm up by reviewing grammar points, writing a few questions, or practicing a topic like ordering food in a restaurant.
Yes, that makes your class more productive because you come in with some ideas and confidence.
Tip number 3, after class, use ChatGPT to review. If your teacher gave you feedback or new phrases, you can ask ChatGPT to help you practice them again in different sentences or situations.
Tip number 4, build your own learning routine. For example, Monday, 30 minutes with ChatGPT, grammar plus conversation. Tuesday, English class with a teacher. Wednesday, vocabulary quiz with ChatGPT. Thursday, write a short story and ask ChatGPT to check it. Friday, class again or speaking practice with a friend.
The key is balance. Let your teacher guide the path, and let ChatGPT support you every step of the way.
You'll move faster, feel more confident, and enjoy learning more.
Coming up next, it's time to answer the big question: who wins the battle? ChatGPT or teacher? All right, Julia, after everything we've talked about today, what do you think who wins the battle? ChatGPT or a human teacher?
You know, Jason, honestly, I don't think there's a clear winner. Both have unique strengths, and the best choice really depends on the learner's needs and situation.
Exactly. If someone needs emotional support, motivation, and live feedback, a human teacher is unbeatable.
But if you want quick answers, constant availability, and extra practice, anytime ChatGPT is amazing.
Plus, for learners on a budget or in remote places, ChatGPT opens doors that might otherwise stay closed.
The smartest learners will use both. They'll get the personal touch from teachers and the endless practice from AI.
At the end of the day, the best teacher is the one who helps you keep learning and feeling confident.
That's right. So don't stress about choosing sides. Focus on what works for your style and your goals.
Thanks for listening to our English Learning Podcast. We hope this episode helped you understand the strengths of ChatGPT and teachers.
Don't forget to try both, experiment, and enjoy your English learning journey.
Thanks for joining us today on the English Learning Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into ChatGPT versus human teachers.
We'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Do you prefer learning with a teacher, ChatGPT, or maybe a mix of both? Share your thoughts in the comments or send us a message.
And if you found this episode helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends who are learning English too.
Remember, the most important thing is to keep practicing every day, no matter which method you choose.
We'll be back soon with more fun and useful English learning tips. Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, and stay confident.
Bye for now, and thanks again for listening.
See you next time.